Hola a todos! Hello everybody! Welcome to lesson 03B. Bienvenidos a la lección 03B. Today our learning target is I can define what a cognate and a false cognate is and give a few examples. So to do that, our agenda contains cognates, cognados falsos, and then we're going to play a game. All right, we have a couple of inspirational quotes. You've done better than you know. You've helped more than you realize. And you're closer than you think. And a quote from Oscar Wilde, famous author: You know more than you think you know, just as you know less than you want to know. I chose these because it goes perfectly with the content of Cognados y Cognados Falsos. So let's get right to it. ¿Qué es un cognado? What is a cognate? A cognate is a word that looks and sounds similar to a word in another language, and very important, and has the same meaning. So, for example, president of English, presidente of Spanish. You can see they look almost exactly the same, they sound almost exactly the same, and their meaning is the same. Color, color and color. Calendar, calendario, right? You can see all three of those very, very similar. And again, very important, they have the same meaning. There are approximately 20,000 cognates between English and Spanish. That's about 30 to 40% of all words in English. So think about that and connect it to the quotes that I just had. You already know about 30% to 40% of the words that you have in English. You know a version, or you're going to recognize a version in Spanish. So that's one of the really cool things, is that you have a lot of similarity in words to help you figure out some meaning. And why is that? Well, it's largely due to the fact that both languages have a significant amount of words that come from Greek and Latin. So they're Latin and Greek-based languages. On this PowerPoint and in your instructions, I've linked this website. There's many if you do a Google search, but this has a whole bunch of cognates. So you can see alcohol, actor, actor, auto, balance, balance, bar, bas, like on and on and on. These are, look how many words you already know in Spanish. Explosión, explosion, expulsión, expulsion, extensión, extension. Tons and tons and tons of words that you already know. But, of course, it can't be just that simple, right? There are cognados falsos. So what's the difference between a cognado and a cognado falso? Notice falso and cognado are also both cognates. Falso, false. It looks like English word false, has the same meaning. But what is a false cognate? It's a word that looks and sounds similar to a word in another language, but does not have the same meaning. So in other words, there's some tricksters out there. For example, actual in English, the real true thing. Actual in Spanish means current, right? Like right now, actual. In English, pie, which means dessert. Pie, that one doesn't sound similar, so it should already be like, oh, something's up. And it means foot, right? Two very different things. So these are considered to be cognados falsos, false cognates. Oops. Now, the good thing is that most words that look alike between English and Spanish are actual true cognates, meaning they have the same meaning. But there are a fair amount that are false cognates. You can't tell by looking whether it's a true cognate or not, You just have to learn as you go. But you can use your context clues, right? And if it seems to have the similar meaning and makes sense in the sentence, it's probably a true cognate. Again, I've given you a link here for a big list of false cognates, 55 in this sheet, that you might want to start flagging so that you don't make errors. We already went over, this one, actual and actual, PAPA, carpet and carpeta. Carpeta is a folder. Rope and ropa. Ropa is clothes, right? So here's a nice, wonderful list for you, 55 that you can go through and start to memorize that. These are not what they look like. All right, just that simple. So by now you should be able to define on your own what is a cognate and what is a false cognate. We'll see you on the next lesson.